Hey everybody, Brad Johnson here. I'm on Salt Spring Island. I'm just enjoying one of the provincial parks here and just going on a nature walk, and just thought I would take you guys with me as I'm walking down here. So basically just seeing some of the beautiful mountains. I'm here at the lake. Again, just in Salt Spring Island, one of the islands here, Pacific Northwest, just right next to Vancouver Island, which is my homeland in that way. But I've really just felt a really incredible rush of peace, in the best way I can say it, in a form of a contradiction in that way. But just a great tranquility and a great serenity being out here in nature. While I'm walking around, I'm just getting the impression of what it's like to be out in the wild, and just imagining being able to build a shelter, being able to start a fire, being able to forage, being able to go fishing, all of these exciting things. Of course, in the provincial parks here, it's very limited to do a lot of those things. But I feel it's kind of like an orientation. Just being able to walk around, go deeper into the bushes, which I've done. I just did a really nice meditation this morning, doing part of the Tumo technique as well too, which I'm basically holding an event for at the end of January. And just keeping myself warm. Right now it's probably about, say, 1-2 degrees out, maybe around there. There's some snow on the ground as well too. So it's been an amazing journey. I've actually just spent the last 3 hours just walking around the bush. And I'm just feeling this and saying that, is this really something that is going to be really enlightening for the next step in one's own soul journey? And I would say the answer is definitely yes, because as I was talking about before in the transitioning into the wild video, it's about the ancient masters, and they would come out into the forest. They would just completely leave behind society, the towns, the villages, and they would retreat here. And I think the big question that would be on many people's minds is, what did they do? What did they do out in the forest? What was their daily life like? We may never know, right? What I basically did just a couple of hours back was, when I was going into meditation, I just saw this big tree stump. It was just such a nice flat surface, and I just sat down on that tree stump. And I just felt this warmth and beautiful, silent presence of the forest. And as I just sat there and just went into meditation, my whole body just became warm. So off went the jacket, off went the shirt, off went everything. Or just basically, not everything, but topless in that way. And I was just sitting there for just some time, just being able to take in the silence, the quietness of the forest. There was not a single sound that came through the forest, and it was liberating. It was beautiful. And me living on kind of like the outskirts of the city in Victoria, BC, Canada, a little place called James Bay, there's quite a bit of noise. There's some neighbors, there's cars, there's traffic. You can hear the sounds of the city. But when you come out here, and I mean just everything around here, it's just absolutely beautiful. I'm kind of in a little pit stop right now. It's going to be continuing up the trail. But this is really something that I'm feeling my next step is. And again, it's like I said in the past video, that this is the turning point of the masters, right? Many of us who are feeling these connections to past lives of mastery, of great meditation, of working with the land, of being able to just completely disengage ourselves from society. And I'm not saying I'm going to be doing that fully, 100% off the grid, but there is going to be a transition that I'm going to be going through as it relates to spending more time in nature. I'm still going to be doing my sessions, I'm still going to be doing my events, I'm still going to be doing my videos here on YouTube, but it's being able to give myself a new change of pace, a new transformational experience, going into the wild, and Vancouver Island is perfect for that. Like I said, Salt Spring, here I am, and it's gorgeous out here. The challenge I found with Salt Spring Island is that there's a lot of short-term rentals, right? There's not a lot of long-term rentals here, and that's always been a bit of a challenge for me, because I'd like to find a place that's just here, like a nice small little cottage or cabin, but it's just mostly short-term rentals, like 2 or 3 months, right? So, Salt Spring is always an option, but Vancouver Island, a big island, has so much wilderness. It has so many secluded areas as well too that I've never been to, and I said, well, you know what? I'm gonna check this out. I'm gonna check my own home turf out, Vancouver Island, and I'm gonna look into these spots of the wild. I've actually looked on YouTube as well too. There's a lot of people that go into these secluded areas of Vancouver Island. Like, whoa, where the hell is that? That's nice. I want to go check that out, right? And I think that's going to be my intention as the springtime comes. In the winter, everything just feels like it's sleeping, right? It's kind of like you're walking around the forest, and it just feels like it's like a pleasant snoring, right? It's like everything is just sleeping and hibernating, and it's beautiful too, because again, that's what brings. Oh, sorry guys, I had my finger over that. But of course, that's peaceful as well too. Is feeling the hibernation effect, and just again admiring these trees, beautiful cedars and pine, Douglas fir as well. It's just an amazing place to be. And again, I've spent the last few hours just walking from my Airbnb all the way down here. So I've been out here for about 3.5 hours now, I'd say, approximately. And it's just been such a rewarding experience, just seeing all of this beautiful land and nature around you. And that is what I feel is the next step. And the next step may take several years for many of us that are feeling that call. Some may ask, well, Brad, what made you want to go into the wild? What is that feeling that you're now moving into? And I said it was just something that I felt for the past couple of months. I felt it in my mind that it was time for me to go into nature, because I'd just be at my house, I'd be going out, maybe going to a store, and I just felt that impulse and saying, what am I doing here? What am I doing in this house? What am I doing in this city? I don't even like this city anymore. It's not against the people or anything like that. It's just that the territory, the aspect of the vibration of what the city represents did not appeal to me. And being able to just feel this sensation and looking into the wild, and like I would just, whether it's on the computer or just going outside, going to my local park, I said, this is it. This feels like my next step. This feels like just being able to immerse yourself in nature, being familiar, right? Having a good familiarity with nature, being able to forage, being able to build a shelter, being able to build a fire, and just really enjoy everything that nature shares with you. So that's my next step. And again, it's going to be a transitional process. Not saying that I'm going to do this for a week and all of a sudden, poof, major enlightenment happening. No, this is something that will take, of course, many years. But I'll be doing my work, my sessions, my events for years to come. And I'll be working with the wild, transitionally, taking a weekend off or a few days off, a few weeks off every couple of months, and going into the wild and just exploring it and experiencing it and feeling that transition and go deeper and deeper each and every single time. And so just hearing the response from the last video as well too, I can tell a lot of people are also feeling this as well. So like I said, if there are people that want to come out to Vancouver Island, or again, sometimes I'm here in Salt Spring, then you guys can always give me a shout. And like I said, we can always build a wild community together. The whole idea is that I'm not looking to be a leader. I'm not looking to lead people in that particular way. It's that if this is something that is calling to you, it's not just because I'm saying, oh, come on out and do this, right? You have to feel it yourself. You have to make sure that this is something that you want to do, because you're out in nature, you're going to be out in the wild, and you want to be familiar with things, right? You want to be familiar about your territory. You want to be familiar about getting food. You want to be familiar about building a fire, building a shelter. You want to be aware of wild animals in the area, all of that, right? It's a lot of work, and I've only just touched on it, little bits and pieces here and there throughout my life, and I'm still looking to really get deeper immersed into it. But all in all, it's one of the most beautiful things I would just recommend. It just connects you to the oneness of nature. I was tapping into a lot of the trees here. I could feel their energy, and it's like being back inside the womb, right? You just can't get this from the city. You can't get this from a small town. You can't get this from a village. You have to be out in the bush. You have to be out in nature. You have to feel the connection here. and it'll make you do some really, I wouldn't say make you do, but it's going to encourage you to do a lot of incredible things. Again, when I was just meditating, just completely topless in this 2-degree weather here, and it just felt amazing. Trained in the Tummo technique, of course, but it just felt liberating. It's kind of like the people that run around nature naked, right? It's the most liberating, peaceful, wonderful feeling ever. Maybe that's something for me down the road when it's not so snowy out, but that's just one idea, is just allowing yourself to go back into the liberation of the womb of nature, and that's going to bring you into some incredible journeys. So just heading back along the trail here, I was just connecting with this beautiful cedar right here, and it's just a really amazing experience. I could feel like its branches were coming alive, and it was kind of like it was holding my hand. At the same time, I was just placing my hand on it, just appreciating it, sending it love. And it kind of reminded me, it's a couple of years ago, I did 2 psilocybin trips. The first trip I did was just on my own, and I did about 1 to 1.5 grams, something around there. Then I did a second one with an ex-partner of mine. But basically, when I did psilocybin the very first time, it really just initiated me, so to speak, into connecting with nature. And so whenever I'm around a tree, I'll just feel a certain tree to connect with. And I would just place my hand upon it, of course not one with a glove on it, my bare hand, upon a tree like this. And then I'll just close my eyes, and I'll breathe in sync with nature. And so I'll breathe in sync with the tree, because as I just walk along, as I kind of close my eyes and I tune into the land, I can feel the entire land breathing. And I did the exact same thing when I was on the psilocybin trip a couple years ago. And I'm sure people out there who have done psilocybin, with mushrooms, they can, all claim that as well too. But basically, I was left with this particular activation within myself, that when I just, whenever I'm just kind of walking along, not really thinking about anything, I'm not really tuned in, but when I just basically go into a state of focus, and I tune into a tree, or I tune into the land, everything is breathing, everything's just connecting together. And I basically would have these quote-unquote, like, DMT-like states, where I'm able to see like the fractal design of the tree, I'm able to see the fractals of the land, I'm able to see the roots go deeply into the soil, I'm able to just be able to sense the tree. And the tree is telling me things as well too. It's telling me about its history, it's telling me about its land, and this one again is like, it feels like it's just curling up, it's kind of like its branch here, turned into like a vine-like branch, and just like it was holding my hand. It was like just taking me on this journey. Just really, really beautiful. And again, this is what the wild is bringing. And, it's not even about human companionship. It's about the idea that you're building companionship with everything you see. The ducks that are swimming in the pond, building a companionship with them. The trees along the trail here. The grass, the dirt. You're just making companionship with everything. And again, that is just one of the most beautiful things being out into the wild, is you feel it a lot more deeper. And again, that's all part of the master, all part of the nature of the master. So it's quite a beautiful feeling. So again, thank you so much for just joining me on this little nature walk, and I'll speak to you guys again in another perspective of the now. Thank you everybody for tuning in to New Earth Teachings YouTube channel. Please feel free to visit our website, newearthteachings.com, private sessions, digital courses, blog, free media, and a lot more. Again, newearthteachings.com. Thank you so much, and I look forward to speaking to you again in the next video. Take care.